say I wanna learn something with the chevra that talks to me a lot right now, presently. All of us, Baruch Hashem, lead busy lives, and it can get overwhelming for all the things we're raising mishpachas. That's busy to be a proper husband, father, earning parnasa for a family, our learning, our steiging. This life is busy, and we always need chizuk. We always need chizuk. Adam la'amol yulad need chizuk to push on and to toil and to put in and invest. There's something in Parshas Baloischa that I want to learn with you. I Pashut came in here, coming. I want to read this with you. I want to relax to this pasuk. Shouldn't even say relax this pasuk. I want to get infused with this pasuk. It means a lot, and I want to study it. I want to put my eyes in. I want to read the Rashi. The pasuk describes that Klal Yisrael, especially people who had joined Klal Yisrael, and it says Ha'asaf, the people that had been misasif, that had joined Klal Yisrael. Rashi says it's the Erev Rav. We left Mitzrayim, so many people wanted to join Klal Yisrael, and it says Hisavu Taiva, they had a desire, and it impacted Klal Yisrael. It's interesting the way negativity and kvetching works. Is it's catchy. We've all seen this. Positivity is catchy, and negativity is catchy. There's a pasuk about the soldier who's nervous in war, and the Torah says he has to leave the battlefield. Pen yimas levavai, lest yimas levavchem kilvavai, lest their hearts, to be nimas means melt. Their hearts will melt like his hearts. If one person is nervous and negative, it impacts others. And the Erev Rav and Klal Yisrael started complaining, and it impacted Klal Yisrael. There's a very famous story that I heard personally from Reb Miller's grandson. The Olam probably knows it. I want to chazer the power of negativity, how careful we have to be to say positive things, to create a positive atmosphere. Negativity is so powerful. Reb Bragg walked into Zayda's house, and he was greeted with the most wild scene. Reb Miller Zatzal, Rav Vigdor Miller Zatzal, was in his kitchen. Reb Bragg walks in, and Reb Miller's head is dunked in the kitchen sink. And the kitchen sink is full of water, and it's plugged up, and it's not what you expect. You walk into Reb Miller's house, Reb Miller's head is deep in the kitchen sink. And Reb Bragg's wondering, like, Zayd is swimming, a very unusual way of swimming. You know, maybe it's in Brooklyn, that's this Brooklyn swimming pool. Lemay says his head is in the sink. So Reb Miller then pulls out his head and gives a deep, like breathes in, like his life was saved. And his grandson said, what's going on? Says Zayda said he was walking and he heard somebody knock the air in New York. Give some negative comment, how hot it is, you can't breathe. And Reb Miller felt that would impact him. Negativity. And he came home and put his head in the sink till he couldn't breathe, came out and said, thank you Hashem. Kol ha-neshama kal al kol neshima, for every breath you have to thank Hashem. He was makir tov. But it's very, very dangerous. Negativity is catchy. And it's interesting, in the Parshas describes the Erev Rav, the Erev Rav, they started being kvetchy. Vayivku gam b'nei Yisrael, and all of a sudden Yidden started crying. We also started being kvetchy. Vayomu mi yachilenu basar, who's going to give us meat? Very, very catchy negativity. It's a spreading virus. And he complains, so then Klal Yisrael complains also, it's catchy. Then they say a line that's amazing. Zacharnu es hadaga shaloichal b'mitzrayim chinam. We remember the free fish of Egypt. We remember the daga asher nachal b'mitzrayim. We remember the fish we ate for free. Now Rashi's bothered by free fish. Im taimer shemitzrayim naislam dagim chinam. If you say that the Mitzrayim fed Klal Yisrael free fish, he says that they didn't even give teven. He brings the pasuk teven lo yinasim lahem. Paray said to the Egyptians, "Don't give them straw." If they didn't give straw, you think they gave them fish? So Rashi rejects that. It doesn't mean they handed out free fish. The Ramban disagrees with Rashi. Well, we won't talk about Rashi's answer tonight. The Ramban argues on Rashi. And the Ramban says that it means they ate free fish. He's not maskim kifi pshutoy. He said it means they had free fish. The kasha Rashi asked, they didn't even give them straw. It's funny, straw is theirs to produce. The fish helps them work. In Mitzrayim there was limitless fish. They lived by the Nile. There was so much fish, and they did give, the Ramban learns kifi pshutoy, that they did get free fish. And they said, we remember the free fish of Egypt. And that's what they said to Hashem. They complained, we remember the free fish of Egypt. And now, Ein Kol, all we have is the mun, we don't have meat, we're missing a lot. They remembered the free fish. It's rather fascinating to think about the Ramban. The way the Ramban learns that it means kipshutai, Mitzrayim was horrible. It was horrible existence. Very like selective memory. We all do this in certain ways. We like create a fake nostalgia. But he remembered the free fish of Egypt, like a funny line as Mitzrayim was torture. They killed us, they beat us, they robbed us. It was torture, Mitzrayim. And yet in the desert they said, do you remember the free fish of Egypt? And I want to say to the Chevron, I wanted to study this Ramban, the free fish of Egypt, that I think there's a very profound point. And I think Mitzrayim is a place of trap. You're going nowhere, you're stuck. And in the city of stuck, there's free fish. There is free fish, there's tons of fish, and you get free fish in the city of stuck. What I want to say is that to accomplish and to work and to get, if you want to get out of Egypt, it takes work. If you want, then Egypt's a place of free fish. Stuck and going nowhere, we got free fish. It's true. It's true. And what did the free fish do for us? We were miserable and had nothing. There was free fish. What they remembered and were frustrated in a difficult time, the free fish of Egypt, is a very good visual that a person, Adam Lamel Yulad, a person's born to toil and to accomplish and to have, one has to put in all the precious things of our life. A good marriage, one has to put into his marriage. One wants good children, one has to put into their children. One wants Torah, one has to toil in Torah. Anything valuable costs. There's a line in the Gemara that I love, and I'm going to say over the story. I beg Mechila. I'm going to say over the story. You're my friends. I want to chazer the story, and I'm just talking to myself. The Gemara has a line that a doctor, Asya da Asya b'magin, magin shava. A doctor who heals for nothing is worth nothing. Good things cost. You want things free? If you want, all you have to do is picture the free fish of Egypt. Beseder, but you're a slave who has no present, no future, nothing, garnished. There were free fish in Egypt, precisely. It's a very good picture, the free fish of it. It should almost be an expression, the free fish. We remember the free fish of Egypt. Precisely, Egypt has free fish. It's true. It's very true. There's free fish in Egypt. Hand it out. You can even salt it. Enjoy. What? Yeah. Free fish of Egypt is so... we should soak in our bones the free fish of Egypt. Good things cost. Good things have work. Good things mean you bring it and you overcome and you struggle. Good things. I was at a siyum tonight. I ran here from a siyum. A bacher who killed himself to learn. Mamish worked hard, and he spoke at a siyum. He was shaking like a leaf. Describing overcoming, describing putting in hours of amelus. I needed to come home and read the free fish Ramban, the free fish of Egypt. You could also, you could be in Egypt with free fish. My story, I got a shear from a Muslim doctor gave me a shear, and a doctor who heals for nothing is worth nothing. I had found there was a clinic. I don't advise anybody to do this. There was a clinic in Connecticut. If they let a student do your teeth work, so then you should get it for free. I'm not such a bargain hunter, I'll be honest. I like my dentist a lot also. It was convenient, it was more local. There was some curiosity. I'm just saying, to save money, no bullshit to save money. But Lamaisa, okay, why not? It's free. Give a youngster an opportunity to work. It was one of the most painful experiences of my life. Like I literally harved, you talk about Amelus, I harved on a Gemara Baba Kama, a doctor heals for nothing, worth nothing. His drill, I'm not megaz, the whole time he was working, he was like cursing a lot and struggling. When your doctor's talking to himself, he's like talking to himself, I was like nervous, and then the drill got caught in, he couldn't get it out. The pain, I'd been bitten by a dog, I burst my appendix, I never had pain like this in my life. The drill was stuck in my mouth. He called the guy, I'm holding it in, he called his teacher to come help him get it out. I left, I stood up in the middle, I said, there was a famous fighter who said no mas, who ended a fight in middle. I stood up, I said, he said we're in the middle, the Rebbe, his Rebbe was there. I thanked them both profusely, wished him hatzlacha in his dental career, and left. I called my wife from outside, I was crying, I was in pain, the drill got caught in my mouth, he couldn't get it out. So I had a sheer klali, an asya da asya b'magin. A doctor who heals for nothing is worth nothing. Precious things cost. Precious things have a price. And we're sitting in the desert in a new existence out of Mitzrayim, and we wistfully remember the free fish of Egypt. There's something so encouraging about that. Yes, there's free fish in Mitzrayim. It's true. It's very true, but that's what it means to be in Mitzrayim. I don't think that's a side point, the free fish of Egypt. Yes, you can live a life in Mitzrayim and eat free fish. It's true. And the very existence of Mitzrayim is a place where it's always there. Free fish. It's the land of free fish. Go and take, the Nile's there, it's right there for the taking. It's the land of free fish. That's what it means to be stuck, is the land of free fish. And you eat plenty, geschmack. Your mamish you can grill your fish and salt your fish and enjoy your fish. It's the land of free fish. But a person wants out of Mitzrayim, so then it means you got to give up the free fish. Out of Mitzrayim, there's no free fish. And there's a tremendous temptation. At difficult times, people like wistfully remember the free fish of Egypt. But it's also helpful. It's funny, it's striking to me, the Yidna like wistfully asking, this was a Yetzirah, this was an Asayan, asking for the free fish. It also has the opportunity for us to remember, Mitzrayim was horrible. It wasn't the side point, yeah, but at least there was free fish. That's what horrible places have, free fish. That's the enticement and the allure to every Mitzrayim. To every Mitzrayim is a place where, but at least you get free fish, isn't it? Geschmack. I'm saying, okay, if that's what you want to stay in, you want to be stuck, so enjoy the free fish. But all of us, of course, want to accomplish and want to acquire and want richness and the freedom out of Mitzrayim. So then it's toil, so then it's work, so then it's investment. So then in that world there's no free fish. It's actually a world where people invest and put in this heavy cost, really heavy cost, but for something that's precious. So I wanted it, that was the first topic that I want to say. I want to read the Rashi, not because I want to speak about it, but I don't want to pass over Rashi's pshat. We did the Ramban is Kipshuta, the Ramban says Pshat Kipshuta. Rashi on the spot says Chinam is Chinam in HaMitzvahs. Rashi says that they were, that's what it means. He says, the way the Sifsei Chachamim brings it here, is Pirush, there our Mezainis was not through Kima Mitzvahs. Now the Mezainis is Schar Lepulasenu. If we keep the mitzvahs, the Adama gives the Avula, and if not, it doesn't give. But Mitzrayim, we had Mezainis came without any Kiyam mitzvahs. The Akara of the need to be Mekayim mitzvahs, we were Chinam in our mitzvahs. So the free fish is the pshat that we got food. Today we have the Parsha of Kriyashma. tishma. And if not, then Hashem doesn't bring. We remember the free fish of Egypt is that we're not linked. We weren't mitzvah and mitzvahs. Chinam and mitzvahs that are mizainas.
Midbar was such arrangement as well.
It's interesting. According to this Rashi, according to the Sister Chacham's understanding, it's funny, we associate in the Midbar they had man. Was the man, so it's funny, they had to work harder. Rav Iran's right, it says Kefida or Madrega, they had to work harder for the man. I wonder if that's what it's referring to. Very, very interesting. Pashup Pshat. We're allowed to learn a Rashi together. Pashup Pshat. It says Chinam min hamitzvos in Mitzrayim. We got mizainis, and it wasn't linked to Kiyam HaMitzvos. Now that we got a Torah, our Gashmias is linked to Kiyam HaMitzvos. It's funny because they got man in the Midbar. The way Iran is saying it is that Kefi, what their performance of mitzvahs is, how hard the effort they had to make for the man. It could be Rashi means that. It seems that even in the desert, somehow the mezainis and the sustenance was linked to mitzvahs. And Klal Yisrael said, we remember in Mitzrayim that the Gashmias came irregardless. It wasn't connected to Kiyam HaMitzvahs. Yeah, we have to study this amazing Rashi, this Chinam min hamitzvos. I wanted to not pass the Rashi. I want to study now for a few minutes, all the way to the end of the parsha. We have a mitzvah. All of us, besides the mitzvah of Talmud Torah, have a mitzvah to remember what happened, to remember the Maisa with Miriam, that she spoke Lashon Hara on Moshe Rabbeinu. And I want to say one point to the Chevra. We have a mitzvah d'oraisa to remember what happened when Miriam spoke Lashon Hara on Moshe Rabbeinu, and she gets saras. It's always important to remember the story. And what happened in the Lashon Hara, what happened in the Lashon Hara that she spoke. They did not rip Miriam and Aaron did not rip Moshe Rabbeinu. What Miriam and Aaron said about Moshe Rabbeinu is they had seen Moshe Rabbeinu was Pirish from Tzipora. She was Pirish from Tzipora. And Miriam and Aaron said, they expressed, Harak ach b'Moshe dibra Hashem? Does Hashem only speak to Moshe? Hashem speaks to us, and we're married. So mechatesa that Moshe Rabbeinu separates from his wife, and that's what they said about Moshe Rabbeinu. And it's important that Miriam's lashon hara, she did not knock, she did not put him down. She underestimated Moshe Rabbeinu. And it's important to remember that in the Lashon Hara of Miriam, that all of Klal Yisrael's mitzvah to remember that Miriam got saras and was sent out of the Machna, her Lashon Hara was an underestimation of Moshe. She said, is Moshe, we're also, Hashem speaks, she's Makir, he's a Navi, he's a prophet. Hashem speaks to Moshe Rabbeinu, but she underestimated. She said, Hashem speaks to us also. Hashem says, hey, Hashem, no. Hashem says it's not that way. Loikein Abdi Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu was different. I know you have nevuah, you have high madregas, but Loikein Abdi Moshe b'chol beisi nemenu pel paradaber bay. Moshe Rabbeinu was different. You underestimated him. And the example of Lashon Hara that Gans Klal Yisrael's mitzvah to remember is that Miriam got saras, this great tzaddikus got saras for an underestimation of Moshe Rabbeinu. And the Ikar Shirish of Lashon Hara, certainly the words are bad, but it's not knocking, it's underestimate, it's the inside what we think about another Yid. The goal in the battle against Lashon Hara is not that we're good biters of our lips. We don't say, there's a big zach to that. There's a big zach, we hold in. Certainly we should bite our lips and we should hold in. But the ultimate goal of Lashon Hara, of a Torah that teaches us against Lashon Hara, is to properly value another person. The case that Gans Klal Yisrael's mitzvah to remember, and all of us this Shabbos have to teach our wife and children. All of us have to remember what happened to Miriam. She underestimated Moshe Rabbeinu. And the lesson of looking at people and seeing greatness and not underestimating anybody, that's the Iker Shirish, the Iker Nikud in the battle against Lashon Hara. To see good in people, to value them, to give a proper evaluation of people, and to see people as wonderful and see their milas. That's the lesson here, not to chas v'sholom underestimate. We often have many validations and rationalizations to speak Lashon Hara. We come up with a lot of all different types. Miriam caused Moshe Rabbeinu to exist. It was her message to her father that caused Moshe Rabbeinu to exist. So the Torah B'dafka says, remember what happened to Miriam. Miriam had an easy rationalization. She was the one who caused Moshe Rabbeinu to exist. She also was protesting for Tzipora. She's standing up for some... and Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't mind. The Torah itself is made that Moshe Rabbeinu is an anav. Ish Moshe is anav. Rashi says shafal v'savlan. He's a savlan. He doesn't mind. He's soivel elbain. So every rationalization, Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't mind. I'm defending Tzipora. I'm the one who brought him into existence. And all the rationalizations, don't underestimate another yid. Don't underestimate another yid. Never be guilty of underestimating another yid. Forget all, Rabbi Yerucham speaks about often a parent could say, Lashon on the kid, there's no heter to out parent. What? Really? Wow, amazing. Hashkacha. He gives this, he says that people rationalize rebellion. People rationalize your Rebbe of something. And a parent, Rabbi Yerucham speaks about a Rebbe. People have a parent. It's funny, we all can fall prey. It's like my child, you're not allowed to say Lashon Hara on your kid. Can't say Lashon Hara on your child, not on your Talmud. It's not a heter. And the story of Miriam is every single tzad that we would think of, so many tzadim I should say, that we think of. It's more kal. She saved his life. She brought him into existence. That alone tells people, say he's my Talmud, he's my child. Miriam caused Moshe Rabbeinu to be born. She underestimated as an einish. There's svaras, all different types of svaras, and yet Miriam here is punished, is the tremendous lesson not to speak Lashon Hara. There's a vart that we learn with the Chevra. We haven't learned it recently enough. I'm going to chazer this vart with the Olam. This vart moves me a lot, and specifically in the care not to speak slander. Yaks, I want you to bring this vart home. This is like a chizuk in making sure we guard our mouths, not to slander anybody. All of us know the story of Yonasan and David HaMelech. And Shaul HaMelech holds that David is a merid b'malchus, and he's chasing David HaMelech's life's in danger. At one point, David HaMelech asks his friend Yonasan, who's Shaul HaMelech's son, that could you find out, I'm running and hiding. It's a difficult life, a life on the run. Yisurim Nahram, a life on the run. So I want to come out of hiding. Could you find out if it's safe for me to come back to the city? Namely, does your father still want to kill me? So Yonasan says to his friend David HaMelech, I'll find out. I'll find out. I'll go back home. He had anyway a Rosh Chodesh Suda. They had a Zevach Mishpacha. Rebbetzin Brim told a family member of mine to make sure every Rosh Chodesh to serve nice food. Yonasan's family, they had a Zevach Mishpacha Rosh Chodesh. They had a beautiful Suda for Rosh Chodesh. So he said, I'm going home for the Rosh Chodesh Suda. I'll see if my father is still angry at you. I'll check it out. And then Yonasan tells David, what I'll do is, when I come back to the forest where David was hiding, I'll shoot an arrow. Yonasan's the prince, he has a mishares, he has a lad who serves him. If I tell the youngster that the arrow's it's further where you're looking, so that means, David, run. My father wants to kill you. If I tell the youngster the arrow's closer, that means it's safe, you can come back to the city. So Yonasan goes to the Rosh Chodesh Suda. He mentions David HaMelech's name, and an arrow, a spear, like whizzes past Yonasan. Shaul HaMelech's enraged for mentioning his name. So clearly, David HaMelech's life's in a lot of danger. He goes back to the forest, Yonasan, shoots the arrow, tells the lad, the arrow's further, which means David HaMelech scrambled. The kid gets the arrow. He then sends the kid back to the city, and David HaMelech and Yonasan have a very famous conversation where they promise, they swear to each other friendship and loyalty. Yi Hashem beini uveinecha vein zari vein zarecha. Forever we're linked. They make a promise, a bond, a profound bond. For many years, Yaks, I was bothered by a kasha. Why didn't Shaul HaMelech just come to the far and say, run, David? Why do you make this whole charade? I'll shoot an arrow. If it goes further, it means run. If I say close, why do you make that whole shtick? So I thought maybe like it was dangerous to be caught. Remember, David's a Mard Malchus. Maybe in front of his lad, he doesn't want to talk. The problem is that later in the story, he sends the youngster away and ends up talking to David HaMelech anyway. They make their pact. So why don't they just tell him, David, run? So I was bothered by the kasha for a long time. I asked Talmidei Chachamim. I got answers that didn't resonate by me. I once learning a Likud Sefer and I saw a Gra. And the Gra asked the kasha that why do you make this whole charade? Just tell him run. And the Gra says something so moving. The Gra says, it's from Chazal that Hashem by Achan, by Yerichai, Yeshua drew lotteries, and it turned out to be Achan. Why didn't he just ask Hashem? The lottery anyway said it was Achan. Hashem said who took the booty. And Chazal teach us that Hashem was teaching even when you could speak Lashon Hara, the less words, the better. Says the Gra, David HaMelech and Yonasan said, Yonasan, you check if your father's mad, but let's not talk about it. It's Lashon Hara I'm allowed to say. It's Tayelis, it saved David HaMelech's life. But let's not talk. So I'll just shoot an arrow and say further. We won't talk about the subject. It's like, it's goosebumps. His life's under threat, David HaMelech. He could die, life and death. It's like the biggest heter, like in history, you won't find a stronger case of heter. Tayelis, meken zagim, medaf zagim. You have to say mechuyev. They said, let's not talk about it. His life's on the line. Let's, David and Yonasan, look at each other. You'll shoot an arrow, you'll say further, and both of us will understand. Let's talk about something else. The Gra, the Zehiris in the Lashon, that here his life's on the line. There's every svara in the world, Tayelis, still the less said the better. Let's say the least possible words. And he tells him, he just shoots an arrow, Nayurdika Gra, and the Zahir is not to speak slander, not to speak negative against people. Here in a case of Pikuach Nefesh, and every heter and every tzivu is to say, but let's use the least words possible. And he said in Azar Oifin that it's just the arrows further, and he understands, David HaMelech understands, and let's talk about something else. They make a pact between them. And to me this is an inspiring Gra. And the care that all of us, the care in Shmiras HaLashon, and being careful to use our mouths properly, to say shvach, to say praises of people, to say good things, to praise another person, to uplift another person, not chash v'shalom, to say slander and negative things about people, is a tremendous zehiras. It's the parasha that Klal Yisrael's mitzvah, to remember, Zachar, to remember what Hashem did to Miriam B'derech, to remember what happened, to teach it to our families, to push it, keep it in our minds, the Zehiras, to remember Lashon Hara is not always ripping somebody, it's undervaluing. It's undervaluing, putting down, underestimating somebody. All of us should be Zaychet to have homes that are naki, that are clean from Lashon Hara. All of us should be Zaychet to have mouths. So we daven after davening, Nitzar L'Shayni Meirah. To guard our mouths from bad things. We're a people whose mouths is designed, all the great things we accomplish. Torah, Tefillah, Chesed are all done with our peh. We learn Torah with our peh. We pray to Hashem with our peh. We mechazik another year with our peh to keep our peh kadosh, to keep it holy and not to profane our peh with negative talk, with derogatory speech about people. Hashem should give us the schus to be shomer our peh, to guard our mouths, and the great bracha that is Chayim v'Amavis biyad HaLashon, the Chayim that's biyad HaLashon, all the great power that's in the Lashon should be ours. Yeshua Koach.